So here I am in the shower, sitting down with 2 faucets on me, just trying to deal with the labour pains, and I was trying to hypnotise myself and think about, you know, the fact that my baby was going to be here and the pain was only temporary. I was trying to focus on my breathing. When I look back on it, it was kind of bad that the midwives weren't there just in case I was gonna have the baby. Maybe every 40 minutes or so a midwife would come in and check on me, check the heart rate of me, check the heart rate of the baby, and then she'd leave, and then another one would come in another 40 minutes or so later. At the time I liked it though, because I didn't want anyone in the room. I just wanted to just focus on myself and hypnotize myself to kind of deal with the pain. About 5:45 in the morning, a midwife came in and I told her that I wanted the epidural because I've reached the point where I knew the baby would be coming soon. The contractions really hurt and I didn't know if I had the energy or the stamina to push when I was feeling that much pain. I mean, if you can do that naturally, oh my god, I couldn't do it. I was like, no, I need drugs. The midwife said that she would go and tell the anesthesiologist that I needed an epidural. About half an hour later she came in again and I asked for the epidural again, and she said that she would get the anesthesiologist. It just takes some time. Maybe about 15 minutes later she finally came in and they took me from the shower onto the bed, and my fiance helped bring me over, and I kept taking the gas in the contractions because they seemed like they were getting worse and worse. They had to put needles in my back. My fiance later told me they put like 6 or 7 needles in my back. I don't even remember. I remember it really hurting, but because I'd taken the gas I was just all loopy and high. Let me just tell you, thank God for the epidural. I want to give the inventor of the epidural a huge hug and a kiss. Without the epidural, oh my god, I don't think I could have done it, especially considering how much I tore. I had a 2nd-degree tear, which I didn't know at first because obviously I didn't feel it. So I was on the bed and it was like a pretty high-tech bed. You can move it into all sorts of different positions, and I told the midwife, Susie, who was fantastic. I love Susie so much. I told Susie that I wanted to sit up, so I held on to the sides of the bed and I was just sitting up so I could see everything down below. But it helps to give birth while you're sitting up because gravity is on your side. After they'd given me the epidural though, they said it takes about 15 minutes to kick in. After 15 minutes I could still feel the contractions and I was still taking the gas, and they were like, oh my god, you can still feel it. So they upped my dosage a little bit. Another tip is if you're going to get the epidural, get it at a low dosage. The lower you can get it, the more you can move your legs around. You can kind of feel what you're doing but without the pain, and if it's not enough they can always just up your dosage just a little bit like they did with me. So I could still move my legs around, I just couldn't feel the pain after it finally kicked in properly, which was so good. Oh, and then finally I was laughing and smiling. They told me that was the worst of the pain. I'd gone through the worst pain possible already and that was it. Then Susie turned around, she said to me, all right, we're gonna have you pushing soon, which is really daunting. It was such a daunting idea. You know, you've been pregnant for so long and then suddenly someone says to you, oh, you're gonna push soon and your baby is gonna be here. You know, you get used to just having this belly in front of you that you don't forget that there's a baby inside you, but you're just used to the belly. And the whole idea of the baby coming in and the belly being gone is just, it's just really amazing, you know. 8:15 in the morning I started pushing, and because I couldn't feel completely what I was doing, she would just put a finger on the place that she wanted me to push down, and I tried sitting up like that. Then I had to go on my left hand side, had to go try on my right hand side. And every single time I turned on my left hand side on my back, my baby's heart rate went down. It just shot down from 160 to like 80. They didn't tell me at the time, but this was really bad. And when I turned on my right hand side, her heart rate just boom, just shot up to 160 again. And I think that has a lot to do with my bicornuate uterus and how she was in the right hand side. So I was mostly on my right hand side trying to push her out. And then finally, after half an hour of pushing, they told me if she doesn't come out within 15 minutes that they're going to either use the vacuum or the forceps. And I remember them putting some sort of long contraption inside of me. My partner said it looked like a dildo, and what it did was they put it inside of me and then they could pull it, half of it back, and then they could look inside, so it was like a hole. And they could look inside and they could see that her head was coming out and that she was starting to cramp. I was really determined for those 10 to 15 minutes to really get her out. I was trying as hard as I could. And I remember blood just being everywhere, just blood all over the place. And they had to keep changing the mat that was underneath me. I was so focused on pushing her out. I was so determined, and I was doing such a good job, but unfortunately she just wasn't coming out. So they had to call in the obstetrician. She didn't come in with a vacuum, she came in with the forceps, and they look really scary. They're these huge metal clamp things like that. And I'm just like, you want to put what in me? Thank God I couldn't feel anything down there, just pressure. Before they used it, I said to the ob, I'm like, please be gentle, please don't hurt my baby. I don't care if I tear, but please don't leave, you know, scars, forceps scars on her face, because I used to look at Google images and you just see the most horrid things. It's really sad. Even adults that have had forceps scars and they've had it their whole lives. They only use the forceps for one push. So she clamped around my baby's head, I pushed, she pulled the baby out, and I remember just looking down and I saw like her head just popping out, and I saw the back of her head and it was all black hair, all blood on top of her. And it's just the most surreal experience to see a baby coming out of your body. My first thought when it was happening was, whoa, this is like an alien movie. I saw her and then she started squirming, but she wasn't squirming out, she was squirming to go back inside. So I remember just saying, what is she doing? The midwives and the doctor, they're all like, she's trying to go back in. And I'm like, no. I just remember me, my fiance, the midwives and the doctor, we were all just laughing our heads off. I started pushing again and finally, whoosh, there she was. She came out and the doctor just held her up, and I just remember thinking she'd be covered in vernix, but she was just dripping in blood. And I learned later that's because I tore so badly. Before I was pushing, I told the midwives that they have to put my daughter on my chest as soon as possible because I really wanted skin to skin contact, and within the hour of her birth I wanted to be breastfeeding her. So as soon as she was out, she was on my chest, and she had a little bit of meconium on my chest, but I didn't even care. I kept her on for a little bit, and then they took her off and they cleaned her and put a nappy on her and then brought her back to me. Then I started to breastfeed her, and the breastfeeding came really naturally. I felt really empowered. It felt really good that I was breastfeeding and giving my baby the best thing that I could give her. I called my mom, told her that the baby was here. Within half an hour I think she was at the hospital. She was so happy. I'm her only child, and actually I was created with IVF. My mum didn't know she'd be a mother, let alone a grandmother. My mum got me off the bed and showered me, and my fiance and my mum helped to change me, and I had 2nd degree tear, which was so bad. Oh my god, could not walk at all. I just remember sitting down was excruciating as well. The midwife called came to me again, and she said that the hospital was still full and that my daughter was the 5th or the 6th baby girl to be born in that morning, and she was only born at 9:09. They were still packed and still getting women coming in that were in labour, and I really wanted to be discharged. I said I really want to just go home. I've had a baby, I'm happy, and I just want to relax at home because I really hate hospitals. So anyway, that's my labour and delivery story. If you have one of your own, let me know so I can watch your video.